Hey YouTube, what's going on? Today we're going to do a review of the RTOM LV low volume mesh heads, but first let's hear how they sound. The first thing you're going to notice, I do not have low volume cymbals. If you get these for a practice kit, you 100% should get the low volume cymbals because the cymbals are much louder than these heads. I love the fact that they have a good tone to them and the fact that they're quite a bit quieter than regular heads. If you have the bottom heads on, you're going to get a lot more tone than if you were to, say, leave the bottom heads, the reso heads off while you're playing. All that sound is coming from the bottom head, so keep that in mind. If you want a silent practice kit, I would either put something in the drum or take the bottom heads off. If you want a quieter kit, this is one way to do it. As far as durability, these things have been holding up really well. I've been playing them quite a bit. There's a few stick marks on the protective pad as expected. One thing that's neat about that, if you hit off center, you can get a really nice tone, whereas if you actually hit the pad, you get a lot more attack. Let's see that. Now let's quickly go over each drum individually. The snare drum, I really like how lightly I can play this and still get some snare buzz and some tone. I did notice because there's nothing stopping the vibrations from the snare, it was getting too much buzz, so I just put a little piece of like toilet paper or paper towel under the snares, and it seemed to quiet it and make it not too, I guess, ringy or aggressive sounding with the snare buzz. The toms sound fantastic. They have a nice ring from the bottom head. This is the original bottom head on my 16-inch floor tom, so it does not sound very good. It's got to be about 15 years old. They're definitely not silent. My next test, I'm probably going to take off my bottom heads just to see how quiet I can get them, but they are a lot quieter than having regular heads. A good advantage to using these mesh heads would be a recording situation. If you actually put some stuff in the toms to deaden them a little bit, and you have triggers, you can get all of the cymbals sounding fantastic with no bleed from any of the drums and use triggers for everything. I'm going to show you a little trick on how to trigger your drums or your mesh heads even without having full set of triggers. The first thing is, because these things are so much quieter than regular heads, I turned the gain up a little bit and I pointed the mics straight down. I'm not trying to get a nice sound from these, I'm just trying to get the attack from the heads. Next thing is, if you play a lot of ghost notes, you play too fast, it makes it very difficult to use Stephen Slate trigger because you're all over the place and you're going to have some bleed. Being mesh heads, just make sure you're hitting a little harder, your gain's up, and your mics are pointed down. But let's hear how they sound with a just default Stephen Slate trigger. Sounds like a drum set. Overall, is there any negatives to these? Not really. They're lasting good. They work perfectly. One thing is, if you only had one drum set and you had to play shows and jam all the time, you would be having to take them off and put them back on. RTOM have a black hole system that goes right over top of your drums. That might be a little better for you. But if you have an extra kit or you want a quiet practice kit, these things are awesome. If you also go to the website and use checkout code
Beyond Betrayal 15,
I believe RTOM will give you
15%
off, which is pretty sweet. Sorry to my Canadian friends and the rest of the world, that is only for the US, just due to the fact that shipping is a little messed up in the world right now. As always, please hit the like or subscribe if you like this. It helps me out. And if you have any requests for product reviews or lessons, tutorials, whatever, ask them in the comments below.